G'day, my name's Mark Bachmann and I'm taking part in the 2012 River Management Young Achievers Award sponsored by TEAS Services. Since our January 2012 launch, I've been managing a new not-for-profit environmental organisation based in southwest Victoria and the southeast of South Australia called Nature Glenelg Trust, from a concept I developed with the support of a group of trusted colleagues through the latter part of 2011. Although we are still only in the first 12 months of Nature Glenelg Trust, some exciting projects are already underway. I will come back to them in a moment, but first I'll share a little bit more about myself and my work background. Aside from my family and the central role they play in my life, three of the things that matter most to me and make me who I am are firstly, my interest in sustainability, in particular self-sufficiency and sustainable housing. These are interests I have pursued in my own time, culminating in the owner building of a home out here in the bush over recent years, while concurrently setting up a productive garden, an interest I share with my wife Charlene. Secondly, my love of the bush and country life. As a child that was raised in the city, I only discovered the joy of camping and the Australian bush as a young adult, and it was an environment that had an immediate and lasting effect on me, to the extent that I felt a strong compulsion to purchase and care for my own patch of bush. That interest grew to the extent that today we own a few bush properties, in addition to where we live, that we manage for conservation, including this forested property in southwest Victoria, which is home to a large previously drained wetland that I've now restored. Finally, developing creative ideas and working among friends to turn them into reality is what I really enjoy most about my work. Before starting Nature Glenelg Trust to continue working in this way, I was also really fortunate to work for over 12 years with some fantastic people on environmental issues for the South Australian Government. Although there were many great projects I worked on over the years, the one I'm most proud of and forms the subject of my award application is the restoration of wetlands here in the Piccaninny Ponds wetland system. It was for this area that I adapted a great concept that had been previously attempted without success in the 1980s and turned that into a new detailed vision for restoration about 10 years ago. To have the opportunity to pursue this vision and then see the steps towards restoration subsequently unfold under my leadership, with the involvement and support of so many other dedicated people, has been absolutely fantastic. A selection of the noteworthy on-ground project achievements over the years towards this vision include the construction of a weir and fishway on the main artificial outlet from the ponds to the sea to arrest the decline in wetland condition within the conservation park for the first time in several decades, working with a neighbouring landholder to set up a long-term management agreement for the protection of important wet meadow and grassland habitat on private land adjacent to the conservation park, and the on-ground restoration of this former farming property, Pick Swamp. Through the backfilling of drains and the construction of a weir, fishway and levee bank, this property has been transformed from a series of drained cow paddocks into the diverse functional wetland you now see behind me in a few short years. In addition to the key government staff, including national parks, who have been involved at Pick Swamp, local community groups have also been intimately involved in the on-ground works, with volunteers playing a huge part in the revegetation, bird and water monitoring programs on the property. One of the motivating factors for us starting Nature Glenelg Trust as a truly regional cross-border NGO is to replicate what has been achieved at Piccaninny Ponds and Pick Swamp elsewhere in South Australia and Victoria on both public and private land. After all, this is a region where a majority of the original wetlands have been drained, but there is growing community interest in this concept, making it an exciting time ahead. Our new organisation has been given an early boost from the Australian Government Clean Energy Futures Biodiversity Fund, which will enable us to work with private landholders to restore wetlands on private land over the next 5 years. Other projects Nature Glenelg Trust has been awarded in recent times include Nature Foundation SA grants to undertake important conservation-related research on 2 threatened species, the eared worm lizard and a nationally threatened fish, the dwarf galaxus. Grants from the South Australian Department for Environment, Water and Natural Resources to finalise the development of a wetland condition assessment tool and to coordinate a series of educational biodiversity events in 2013. A Norman Wettenhill Foundation grant to undertake important conservation-related research on the nationally endangered Glenelg spiny crayfish, and another grant from the Australian Government to develop a cross-border community nursery to supply rare, threatened and hard-to-access wetland plants for upcoming revegetation projects in the region. It is a real privilege to participate in the 2012 River Management Young Achievers Award. Thanks to the organisers of the 15th International Riversymposium and TEAS Services for making this possible.